Are ya ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
Hi everyone, hope you enjoyed that montage of the Nickelodeon Studios park by myself, Redfield, and BGTfan, my collaborator on the diorama challenge for the past 2 months. And before we take a closer look at some of the details, I just wanted to show you how the map started. So as soon as I saw this rapid ride and the developer had released the ability to change the watercolor, which is a very cool new feature, I knew I wanted the map to take advantage of that, so right away I thought, like, kind of looks like nice water, but a little different, maybe than what other people might do, was making this green like slime, which is a classic kind of Nickelodeon thing. So I did that, and then just looking at this map, I noticed these sort of loops come out on either end, and so I sort of carved the map out, and then if you add this base piece, because you can't like get rid of this last bit of land, then it looks like the map's a different shape, which I thought was sort of neat and might make it stand out. And then you can see kind of the early bones here of just having the entrance hidden, having the studios sort of park, some sort of factory. This ride went away a little too crowded, and then some sort of beach water park area, and some sort of like weenie tower here. So with that in mind, let's go over to the finished map. And here is the finished map of Nickelodeon Studios. I think this is a fun angle with these diagonals. It makes the map look like it was all built sideways, and that effect sort of enhanced by putting these green screens at a 45-degree angle. But again, this is the actual front. So let's just do a walkthrough of this park. Let me get my pipette out. So myself and BGTfan, this was a fun map to do. So this entrance is inspired by the actual Nickelodeon Studios building, not a theme park, but they sort of had this almost like a minimalist art deco, which I would imagine was kind of the hot architectural design in the 60s. Got some this grassy just texture material, some planters with this pipe connector I thought added a little detail. I made some custom image signs here for our water park and for the studios. And then entering here, the fountain, kind of inspired by some of Westcott's awesome building, just kind of adding a little bit of detail here I think makes the fountain a lot more interesting, and then some planters. And then this is inspired by, I think, a now defunct Nickelodeon theme park, and they had this kind of studios building, and so this is as close as we could get it. It had these fun shapes on the stairs, the zigzag line, used Wally Tech to add a zebra print texture there. And then inside the building, we have our River Rapids ride. I didn't fully theme that, but figured the fans would distract people enough. So as this comes out, we've got a little slime tower effect here. And then the car goes by. There's some splash elements. This was a great idea by BGT when the guests, they can sort of use this, and it's actually triggered when they walk on the paths here. And then This was inspired by the Evil Genius video games, which I think is actually referencing some classic Bond and other villains things. This specifically, this building's from a British TV show, but tried to do a forced perspective here, so you have more realistic palm trees, and then these are sort of the fake mini forced perspective palm trees that the theme park put in there. And then we enter the secret layer. We've got a number of about 4 stacked gates here. People go in there. And I'm also happy with how this kind of wavy planter turned out. And this is just these light better letter effects. And then I think this is from the sci-fi mod, these interesting sheet pieces. And then we go around to the secret layer. Again, kind of inspired by like classic Bond things. So we've got our like evil boardroom and some meeting areas. It's a dangerous red button there. Wanted just sort of this crazy abstract art, a bit inspired by like Kingpin, if you've ever seen the Marvel show. And then, of course, we're mining slime here, so we've got some of the original slime gems, and then just a little reference to some founding members here. All right, and they are overlooking the factory. So up here, more of I think a Cartoon Network reference, but Dexter's little kind of Dexter evil scientist here running the control room. And again, just wanted to have some fun with the cartoon references. So we've got a TMNT experiment here, finding out what happens when you expose turtles to slime and pizza simultaneously. All right, and then as they come in here, some trigger effects happen. We can go over that in a second. But yeah, I wanted this crane gantry, and those typically roll on like steel rails, so added that detail there. And then I think that it's fun to use the performers to add a bit of movement to your little show scenes, so they're sort of trapped walking around these paths, running the control room. Let's get a car to come back through here. Here we go. So yeah, this opens up, it melts the slime, some of the steam goes, and then there's also a little evil face that showed up there. And then the way these work is, this is from my ape mod, which has a lot of particle effects. So let me open that up. And what you can do is you can get a collider piece. So these are just like shapes. You can rotate them whatever you want. And then if you go into, so you got colliders and you have spawners. So if you go into a spawner, it spawns objects, and then they collide with the ground, so the terrain. So that's why they're bouncing off there. And they also collide with these colliders. So there's those are just hidden underneath the rotated escalator piece here, and that's how the crates go down, and then they just go back here, and they'll despawn after a bit, but they will like be kind of crazy. So they're actually being trapped by more colliders back here, because otherwise they would just sort of slide off the edge of the map. But yeah, I think there's curious to see what you all come up with that mod I made. It's got some interesting objects you can spawn, but yeah, this has just a nice bit of movement there. And then coming on out, so now we're entering the Bikini Bottom SpongeBob area. So kind of themed it like this. This wall is like the distant sea, just like the show. Yeah, I wanted to have this little fun splash pad area, add a little just sense of motion, and then use Material Painter to make this ghostly pirate. And then this is our first kind of off the map support piece, just to give the map more of a cartoon flair. And then I think these cannons, yeah, have some nice trigger effects. So yeah, welcome to Goo Lagoon. Another sign. This is I think a title sign from a SpongeBob episode. We just had to extend it out a bit to stretch it to the 2x1 format. And then some nice coral gardens, and we have the Krusty Krab here, fully outfitted inside. And then this is just something I did. I sort of wanted to hide the bumpers and sort of fun, makes them look like they're wearing hula skirts or something. All right, and then let's explore this part of the beach scene before we keep following the track. So we've got our little pirate. You can get your themed photo in front of the Krusty Krab. Some nice sunbeds from Resortotech, which the guests actually use, which is fun. And then a little bar area here. So this stuck around from the early concept. And yeah, I think these paths also just make it look a little more organic. If we hide those, you can barely see the actual path sort of weaving around. And now going up this lift hill, so here is the hidden plankton. I think, yeah, those are tusks and little bamboo hands. So he's tricked you to go up the lift hill into the slime factory. And BGT did a great job on this factory. A lot of cubes and windows. I think my contribution was just saying this whole intersection area is like very hard to theme. What do you do? And we're like, let's just cover it. And I think it turned out really cool for just the map to have this big central tower. And then there is a drop tower hiding in here as well. So if we wait a second, I think that'll activate. There we go. Yeah. So a nice just bit more motion, and I feel like it makes it feel a bit more like a real theme park to have that in there. So this is Slime Inc. And they're kind of the public-facing side. So, of course, they're really going to sell their slime. So did a Photoshop here of Timmy originally drinking lemonade, now slime, which is organic and GMO-free, of course. And then, yeah, we come out of the factory off of that lift hill, spiral around this little slime mountain, which includes a tree that I painted green, which worked pretty well as this kind of unusual slime texture coming out of our Nickelodeon blimp, which is just sort of a classic part of the Nickelodeon TV shows, and like the channel has the blimp going around. And then our rafts come out of here, and I first made this haystack guy for Jabba the Hutt on a past map, and BGT wanted to make him into a big slime monster, which I think turned out awesome. We have the robot arms from Props Galore painted green, and then this is the haystack, which I just love. I feel like the perfect. It's got a nose shape. It's got a mouth. Like, yeah, I think, yeah, I have a vase hiding in there just to round him out a little. And then I love this by BGT. The feet. It's almost like, I don't know, maybe like a Spirited Away kind of, or a Howl's Moving Castle feeling. Just a really fun cartoony element. And then I forget what Nickelodeon show this is from, but this was actually a slime monster in some weird original show. And then I just photoshopped in it to say slime cycle, because this slime's all very natural and not toxic at all. And it's just merging in with the pristine blue waters here, which we'll take a look at in a second. And then I just looked up some images of factories, and I found one with these cool tanks, so I was inspired by that. So got lots of control valves and our factory there. And our rafts come through this pipe here and go past our last sign, Slime Inc., a friend to all plants, animals of the land, sea, and sky. But the friend, there's an asterisk. That's a voluntary association with Slime Inc., and they reserve all rights to terminate said friendship at their discretion. And this is a nonpartisan ad paid for by the We're Not Slime Inc. Super PAC, so you can definitely trust that. And it's hopefully it's distracting the guest's eyes from just a slight overflow issue we're having here, but that'll get fixed shortly. And the fish are all right. they'll come back. So as we come down our drop here, we've got another whale, and if I zoom out a bit here, you can sort of see in the Bikini Bottom area this blue. So it's sort of like if you're in Bikini Bottom, you're below the sea, of course, in Goo Lagoon. So you got this boat above you, you've got the whale breaching out of the water onto the surface, and then we've got our awesome water slide area, some great layouts here done by BGT, and it actually works, which is cool to see. This was sort of a pain to have the return tracks. They're all invisible, but we got it working. And yeah, this tower here, guests can ride any 3 of the rides, and we did name them. We got Plankton's Chum Shoot, Patrick's Spiral Sundae, and SpongeBob's French Fry Express. And let me get my pipette back. Yep, so we've got a little guest here hanging out in the water. The friendly Verkip shark coming over to say hi. And yeah, I'm really happy how this turned out. I always wanted to use the water slide mod since it came out. And yeah, it's a really fun mod. Definitely worth trying out. Lots of customization abilities with the supports. With the 4th custom color slot, you can choose, if you want a central support, one on the left side, the right side. So that's really neat. And I really like this slide, how I was able to get it to come through the rock work here. And moving on, our Intrepid rafters come back some more Hulu bounce bumpers, and over to the jellyfish field sign, which is a little tedious to make. And then jellyfish wanted to have maybe a flare of realism, so they're on these sort of hidden glass pipes for the animatronics. And yeah, nice lush jellyfish fields with that boat anchored right there. And then up the water tower here, which is another thing BGT did an awesome job on. I like it because it hides the drop tower, but it doesn't, it's not super bulky, which I think can often happen, that you see the drop tower and you're like, okay, I gotta make a huge building, but this is just a nice clean thing. And then we've got some nice triggered gates there, and then we're back through here, and the ride's over, and yeah, some bumpers hidden by the oil barrels. So yeah, that is the whole map here, and I hope you enjoyed our tour and this creation. And let me just show it off at night now for a few last details. And let's get rid of the pipette so it gets a little darker. Yeah, so this was really fun. I did all the night lighting, so that the mist really comes alive here and around here. That can really pick up the light, so worth putting some mist around, some fog to just spice it up at night. Have some spotlights here, which would just work like you'd expect and add some of that nice realistic lighting. From the ape mod, if I get that out, there's also a number of lighting effects, and one of the cool ones, I think I can actually just search for it here, is shadows. So we have spotlights with different spreads, and they actually cast real-time shadows. So if I tilt this down, yeah, you can see these guest shadows being created. We could cast a tree shadow here. Yeah, really, there's shadows during the daytime in the game, but at night there are not. And so this can be just a neat way to highlight some details. That's what I have here, is one of the lights hidden, which I feel like just adds to that, just the sense of motion and just sort of that different mood you get at night. And then, yeah, of course, the sign lights up. That looks fun. I did one more shadow thing over here. Yeah, just some nice mood lighting in here, and one more shadow light in the factory, which I think makes it a little creepier. And then some ambient lighting in the off of the slime tanks. And let me show you this now. This is really my kind of my cheat, is if you want things to look cool, you really got to get the sci-fi tech mod and use the orb lit. So the first one, that's the color of the orb. So you can see we can make it blue, it still grows red. So you kind of ignore that. I shrink it down to the smallest value. You can see it's just a little dot, and then change the second color slot. And you can see it glows. You know, if we add more, it gets brighter. And I just hide these anywhere. So of course I've got a green one hidden in there. Up here, I just hid some orange ones around, and it just adds that mood lighting. So you can still, you know, sort of justify it, like maybe there's some overhead lighting. And even you might be surprised out front here, which I don't think I can really show because I've hidden them all underground. That's the one trick is. But these lights alone really aren't bright enough. They'll only illuminate here, and everything else will be really dark. So just to, you know, you kind of want to make the whole map glow just a little bit, so you can just hide these around. And that's what I did. Even up in some of these trees, I added like, you know, you can add one to light up the other trees, a bunch in here. And then similarly over here on these ones, you can see like this bright spot. There's a few spotlights hidden here, but then just to make it even brighter, I came in here with these and just put a few around. And for this dome as well, let's see, there it is. Yeah, so I use that technique to really light up the whole map. And you know, nice to use like complementing colors. So you got green. I did put some white around the feet. Yeah, the green and blue. Let's see, there's the map back to normal. And yeah, definitely recommend putting those orbs. I've got orange ones in all of the support towers to just light up this area. And then the last cool technique, we come over here, so of course I've got, you know, green for the ghost, but then the darker colors like blue, green, they don't glow as much. They just sort of added color. And the ship deck, it's like the, you know, the brown color really wasn't coming through, so I added a few orange ones there and there just so it pops. But yeah, the last neat effect here is this cool, they're called water caustics, this sort of pattern all over this area here. And what I did is, if we go back to the ape mod again one more time, we have what's called gobos, which is the technical Hollywood name for putting a little like silhouette screen in front of a light so it shows a pattern. So I uploaded all sorts into the mod. So here's a bat one, but we have caustics. You have two of them, and you can color these, and yeah, they just add this this neat water pattern, which really adds just a lot of texture to the rocks. This is pretty common. If you go to Disneyland, they will have some sort of textured like lighting on distant backgrounds because it just looks really nice. And then I used a trick here of, you can see it's even on the water slide. I put, with the material painter mod, a few of these, which I don't even know if we'll be able to find them, but you can imagine there's spotlights just kind of pointing straight down in a few spots to highlight this area. But then now with this mod, you can turn them invisible and sort of cheat on the lighting with that. I do have for the main lighting a more realistic array of lights on the pirate mast there. So yeah, I think that covers it for this map. Hope you enjoyed just a closer look at some of the building techniques and the details and the lighting, and have a good day, everyone.